And now it's time for Cooking with the Swedish Chef. Starring the Swedish Chef. Mr. Chef. Whoa here. You're in the wrong place. I don't know how you got here, but you're in the wrong place. Your show's not here. You sure? No, not here. No, it's not here. Yeah. Swear at me and you're Swedish all you want. Huh. Stay tuned for the Absolutely Completely Random podcast. Coming up next. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolutely Completely Random podcast for Saturday, May 26, 2018. Finally get to record on a Saturday for the first time in 2 weeks, happily. Wish I would have recorded last night, though, because I'm in the nice little stretch of a heat wave. Wonderful. And currently it is 91 degrees in my room, so that's even better. On top of that, I am currently fighting with stink bugs that keep flying around my room. So if you hear any constant buzzing, like a occasionally, one of them may have gotten a little too close to the microphone, and you're probably hearing that. There's nothing I can do. Believe me, I've been catching them all week. But anyway, speaking of all week, what do I have in store for everyone this week? Well, for starters, I'm going to be talking about the Backlash from the Thundercats Thundercats Roar. I'm going to mess that up so many times. From the Thundercats Roar trailer reveal last weekend. I'm also going to be discussing the VR Asuna thing that's coming out, which ironically is a good and bad thing, and I'll explain why. Lelouch from Code Geass is getting a life-size standee, and I honestly think it's pretty cool. Studio Kahara is going to be hiring some digital animators for the 4th Evangelion film. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Hello Kitty's Bullet Train will soon be speeding through Japan starting next month. Yay! Mechagodzilla is getting a new figure from the new Godzilla film, and it's going to be stomping onto the market, and it looks ugly. I will try to get a picture up of it. If not, I'll have the link to the article in the description. It is, oh God, is it ugly. I got not one, but 2 Dragon Ball topics this week. Dragonball Fighters is welcoming Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito, and Dragon Ball World Tour of 2018 has revealed more dates and more cities. Oh, let's hope so. That jigsaw puzzle I came up with the last time just to figure it out didn't really go too well. And on top of that, after tens of thousands of pre-orders, the 3D audio headphone startup Ossic has disappeared off the face of the earth. Yay! It's not a good thing, but I can smell that being an episode of Kick Scammers. And that's not a series that I do. That's Daniel Ibersom and occasionally Guru Larry. And boy, I can't wait to hear their take on this. But until that actually happens, I get to have my go. Yay! All this and more this week on the Absolutely Completely Random podcast. So, by now, you know the song and dance. If you're looking for oddities, weird stuff, unusual things, what have you, check out my eBay page. It's all lowercase a, RHOADS -2012 on eBay. You can also check me out on Twitter at Otaku Roads. And don't forget, you can also check me out on Facebook on the official Web Designer 18 Facebook page. Yay! Facebook page! Okay, so let's start off this podcast like we start off every podcast. How did my week go? So, this week actually went sort of well and sort of bad at the same time. So, first off, I am shocked at how many views so far my Thundercats Roar rant has gotten. I have actually gotten requests to do a rant on a YouTuber. In all honesty, it wouldn't be the first time. I've already kind of recorded one but never published one on the Game Theorist because I have an issue with him. But I haven't gotten around to recording the requested one yet, mostly because I'm still doing some research into it. And yes, I can hear the person that requested it now. I'm keeping your name omitted for reasons, it should be obvious. just to play it safe. But anyway, I am double checking everything because I want to make sure it's not just an isolated incident with just you having the beef. I want to see how many others have the beef so that I can kind of do it with everyone and get one fell swoop. Yep, so that's what's going on with that. In case you were out there listening, I did not forget about you. I'm still double and triple checking. I can only watch so many videos of each person a week before I have to stop and bide my time if I want to keep checking out everything online. Other than that, this week was kind of an interesting week. Standard worked Wednesday and Friday this week. Sort of unusual thing, though, happened. Earlier this week, on Thursday, I started hearing a very loud, high-pitched noise coming from our water pump, and it was one of those, you know it's going to be bad moments, but you're just hoping it's not too bad, and happily, for once, it's not too bad. It is bad, but it's not too bad. So, our water pump has a gauge on it, and the gauge is completely filled with water. I'm thinking the high-pitched wheeling noise we're hearing might be an air hole, or a small little pinhole, but there's no water leaking, and when I talked to the plumber, they think it may be the motor, but because of it being a holiday weekend, they didn't really deem it an emergency since we, A, still have water pressure, B, we're not flooding our basement, and C, from what I've described, it's something that can wait a couple days. It doesn't need immediate treatment. And I agree on that. I wasn't expecting them to come rushing up at warp speed. Now, if we would lose water pressure suddenly, I was told, yeah, give us a call. We'll be up there lickety-split. If you lose water pressure, just, give us a call. So there is that. Other than that, though, had an interesting week. I finally got something completed that I've kind of had on the back burner for the last couple weeks. So a few weeks ago, I picked up a router from eBay, and I was a little pissed off because I couldn't get it to take the latest firmware from the site. And what pissed me off was that it was a charter router. So it belonged to a different company that had it. Somebody had it. The company probably sold it to them, not a rental, but sold it to them. They're like, okay, I don't really want it anymore. I don't need it anymore. And then they sold it on eBay, and I ended up buying it, not realizing it. So I had to do a lot of research. In all honesty, I was just going to sell it to somebody else and sell it up for parts. But happily, I did some research online, and I found out that there was a way to get the firmware, the newer version, on, because it kept telling me it's incorrect firmware because it was a specific type of firmware it needed. And after doing that, I thought, oh great, I bricked it. Oh god, I bricked it. I'm like, it's really no love loss if I did, because I have another router, but it's like, oh god, I bricked it. And the whole reason why I bought this was so that we'd have one that could get a little better coverage, and it actually does give a slightly bit of better coverage, just not much. It's basically like the same amount of coverage, I think. So I'm really not too impressed with it. It was supposed to have beamforming technology, and it doesn't. If it does, that doesn't work. So I'm not really too pissed off about that. And in all honesty, I can have this one up so I don't burn out my other one, since my other one is a decent router, and I know that one works beyond anything. But anyway, I was fixing that up, and after getting it fixed up on Thursday and hooking it up Friday morning when I got home from work, I'm like, oh, cool. Or no, sorry, I hooked it up Friday before work, and I'm like, okay, this will work out great. Then I'm like, oh, there's a firmware update, because I did get the correct firmware, but I put on the older version. It was like one or two versions behind the current. So it's like, okay, I'll just update to the newest one, and it was giving me the unable to update incorrect file. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. So I had to do what I did again. I'm not going to explain what I did because it was a long process, and I'm honestly, in all honesty, I'm amazed I didn't screw it up. It was just a pain in the ass, and I don't plan to ever do it again. And I'm probably going to have to when I have to update that thing to the next firmware, which will piss me off. But anyway, I go through the entire ordeal. It's all said and done. And then I realize, I'm going to have to reconnect each of our devices to this that use the wireless router, like the Roku, my laptop, my mom's laptop, and my tablet. So in the back of my mind, I'm going, yeah, that's not a problem. All right, I'll get on that right away. I go to grab my mom's laptop so that she can go onto Facebook and go onto YouTube and do whatever she wants to do Friday night. And all of a sudden, it starts giving this really loud, high-pitched noise in the fan, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like the best way I can describe it, and I've been trying to figure out a way all day to describe this to you, is it sounds like a cat gargling nails while trying to sing opera. That is the best way I can describe this noise that this fan was making. So, because my grandfather had a doctor's appointment yesterday, so my mom and him went up there to his doctor's appointment, and they quick did a little grocery shopping so we have some food and stuff for this weekend. And then all of a sudden she comes back home. She sees me having her laptop torn apart because I'm trying to fix her fan. So I'm like, there's got to be something with this fan. There's got to be there's an issue with this fan. I know there is. What is the issue with this fan? I've got to fix this thing. It's like a fire hazard. I'm thinking it'll burn up the CPU. The whole laptop will go up. She comes walking in the door, and I'm like, your laptop's dead. What'd you do to my laptop? And I'm like, I didn't do anything to it. So throughout all this, I'm trying then yesterday, after I get it put back together, minus a couple screws that I forgot to put back on, but weren't exactly a love loss. I finally get the thing back together, and I'm like, I turned it on, have to hit the escape key to override the error message so that the laptop will boot up. And at this point, I'm like, this scares the crap out of me. And then I'm running it through my mind. I'm like, she's liable to, at some point, go on this. I might be like working late or something, or I might have to do night shift or something, or it'll be a day when I'll be busy, and all of a sudden it's liable to catch fire. And it started scaring the crap out of me. I'm like, nope, no, I gotta fix this. So for the first time ever, and I know this is getting long, but this is like the end of my week here, I today did something that I honestly enjoyed. I will admit that. It kind of felt fun, but at the same time, it kind of felt like one of those back alley sort of deals, but I had a blast doing it either way. I bought something on Craigslist. Not sold. I bought something. I have sold a few things on Craigslist, but this is the first time I've ever actually bought something. And this was really cool. So I bought my mom a laptop from B&R Computers and Electronics. The guy that sold it to me was really nice. In all honesty, I'm liable to buy from them again if they have anything else I might be interested in. I'm liable to buy from them again because, first off, the laptop's beautiful. I love it. It's a great laptop. It's just what she needs. There's like not a lot of bells and whistles on it. It's just like a basic laptop. It's just perfect for her. I fixed it up with Chrome and AVG today, so she's got antivirus and she's got her favorite browser. So all said and done, it's all good. I'm happy with it. She should be happy with it. So there you go, Mom. You cannot say that your son never does anything nice for you. I got you a big desktop computer for Mother's Day, and I just got you a laptop for the heck of it. So your son definitely loves you. You cannot deny that in any way, shape, or form. On top of the fact that I was willing to basically break your laptop into 1,000 little pieces just to fix it yesterday. So that was my week. I know at this point my mom's probably going, okay, thank you for embarrassing me. Now shut up and get on to the podcast. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's get into the podcast and let's get started, shall we? Alrighty, so let's talk about Thundercats. Thundercats Roar, the trailer and announcement premiered last week. I did an entire rant video on this, and I sort of pretty much said my piece right then and there. And there have been some backlash, not on my video, happily, at least not much, that I haven't been able to answer in my own special way, but I mean like community-wise. Last I checked it today, the video was up to like 8,000 dislikes, I think. It wasn't very good. There was a huge backlash for this. This topic is actually so hot right now that Ian Ferguson and Pat Contry, the two people that do the Completely Unnecessary podcast, who were the ones that inspired me to start my own podcast, actually talked about it in their latest episode this week. with Ian and Pat doing it in their own graceful sort of way. Ian going on with how people need to just stop trying to hold on and preserve the past for themselves. They need to let the stuff go. They need to suck it up and just grow up and basically grow a pair. I don't think he was in the world's greatest of moods because he kind of seemed like he was pissed off or like he was sitting on something very, very pointy. And he wasn't very happy. You could tell that from the video. However, they were talking about it, and they're going about the art style and everything else, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. That's going to be the main draw point of this, is the art style. Yes, I'm not a fan of the art style of this. It's literally basically ripping off Gumball, Adventure Time. I want to say definitely some Clarence in there, and 100% Teen Titans Go. And then you have Ian's going, well, that's just the art style of the time right now. That's how it's going on. That's how it's happening right now, 100%. It's just going, that's the current thing. And with the Thundercats Roar, he goes that it's basically, as they're rebooting it, and when you reboot something, you have 90% less work to do than if you'd be starting something from scratch. Because you already have the characters, you already have the world established, you have the characters, the plot, everything's already established for you. You're just basically putting on a new coat of paint. And that's what I find a little bit offensive about that. Because, yes, while rebooting a show like that would work, it would also make sense if you reboot it in the same genre that it's set in. And with Thundercats, it's more set for a serious series. It's meant to be taken seriously. Even the original that aired back from 1985 to 1989 is meant to be taken seriously. Because it's basically a show where you have these the characters, the Thundercats, are basically now homeless because their planet of Thundera is gone. So they wander the cosmos and end up on Third Earth. And Third Earth is their new home. So they're basically refugees. And their entire struggle, you're meant to grow with them as they grow on Third Earth because they're all in a new place. So you're growing along with them. Even with the 2011 reboot, while it wasn't the same plot, mind you, which first off, I actually applaud that because that was a really better series that ended on a cliffhanger, of course, because Cartoon Network just threw their hands up in the air and said, kiss off on this show. It wasn't selling enough stuff. It had a better plot because instead of being exiled from the planet, instead of being, that version, they were exiled from their kingdom because it was taken over. And the entire series was basically them growing as characters so that they could get stronger so they could reclaim their kingdom from the evil forces that took it over. That's where that show differed from the original. But Thundercats Roar, as far as this one's concerned, is basically the epitome of what I like to call garbage at this point. It is, as I have so graciously now begun to think of it as the Teen Titans Go poison. And I know you can trace this all the way back to like Clarence and that, but here's the thing, and I said this last night in a comment that somebody put up on my video. I said that for Adventure Time and regular show, while the art style was childish, it fit the show. It fit what the show was going for because it was a new show and it was unknown ground. So it fit that perfectly because it drew the people in to see, hey, why does it look like this? And then to have that constantly, as the theme, it's like, hey, well, yeah, because you can instantly identify the characters. You know who Rigby and Mordecai are from regular show, and you know who Finn and Jake are from Adventure Time. You can instantly identify the characters because you now know the art style. It's like, hey, yeah, I know this show. Yeah, the plot's kind of interesting. It's a little weak in certain places, and some episodes feel forced, but yeah, it's a good show. Same with Adventure Time. Oh, it's a good show, but yeah, at the same time, there were some weak episodes, and there was one that I still love of Adventure Time called Card Wars, and that was still one of my favorites. So, yeah. But anyway, as I put down in the comment, just because that worked, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, so that style of animation works, does not give producers and directors the green light and the go-ahead to, hey, we're going to do this for every single one of our new shows. Because all of a sudden you had Clarence that came out that had the same art style. You had OKKO came out, has like a similar art style. Teen Titans Go, We Bare Bears, all of it has the same art style almost, because it's like, well, this worked for these two shows, so it'll work for everything else. And it's not a domino effect where you can just line up everything in a row, tip the first one over, and they all fall down. You're going to have something that's not going to work like that. And with Teen Titans Go, the main issue is that you're basing that off of Teen Titans. It was a reboot of Teen Titans, which the fans never actually asked for. A continuation is what the fans were begging for, not a reboot. And what ended up being the main issue with this, at least in my opinion, was the fact that you have so many people that were now watching Teen Titans Go and realizing that they've taken a show that was supposed to be serious, that was meant to be taken seriously. Okay, these are 5 individual people who have to come together and form a team, learn to get along, work together to stop the forces of evil, into a, oh good, it's 5 friends hanging out in a giant tower all day long where they fight crime occasionally and do nothing but tell jokes. Now, there were jokes in the original, but they fit in with the story at the unique parts where they came in. With Teen Titans Go, it's just non-stop jokes, and there's very little seriousness. I mean, even their original trailer for their movie, which I don't understand how that even got greenlit, it was basically one giant fart joke. And Butch Hartman, former animator at Nickelodeon, even did a reaction video to that, and he goes, it's a fart joke. The whole trailer is a fart joke. And then you have the newer trailer that comes out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, this is what our movie actually is. And I'm wondering, did that get made because of so many people that were complaining about, hey, this is what's wrong with your trailer? And as far as the Thundercats Roar show is concerned, I can name about 7 things that's wrong with that just from seeing it. And in all honesty, I would just have chalked it up to, okay, they don't really understand what they're doing, it's a new group of people, but the main producer that came on and starts talking in that reveal goes, I watched the Thundercats, I love the Thundercats, I want to stay as true to the original as I can. At that point, there's really just nowhere you can go that's going to shield you from the backlash the fans are going to have. That is not what fans want to have happen to a beloved franchise, to have it basically stupefied. And after that trailer and that reveal came out, there were animations and pictures all over the internet of other good old shows that could have this same treatment. And the only one that I saw that I could even get on board with was a picture that was up by Sun Gaming YT. They had it up. I think they found it online themselves. Was of Ed, Edd n Eddy. That was an old Cartoon Network show that pretty much was a comedy. It was never meant to be taken seriously. It was a comedy. And the design for the 3 Eds was just, it was good. It fits the art style of the design. And that, I actually said, I could get behind that because I liked Ed, Edd n Eddy. And it was a show that always broke the 4th wall. It always had the basis of breaking reality. I mean, here you have 3 kids that each have the same name, just spelled differently. You have Ed with 1 D, Ed with 2 Ds, and Ed with 2 Ds and a Y. So you have that, but they constantly broke reality, like being able to have Ed with 1 D lift up a trailer like it's nothing. You have Eddie being able to run super fast and create the wheel. It always breaks the boundaries of what an actual cartoon is. It pulled the Looney Tunes in every episode, and it fit that. So when the newer design came out, if it's a joke or not, that fits it. But then when you look back at Thundercats, you're like, okay, this was like a dark series because you had a death in this near the start of it. Not to mention the entire planet of Thundera, but you also had Jara, the the Thundercats mentor who died because he could not go into a cryogenic sleep because someone needed to pilot the ship for 500 years, and he just aged to death. And it's just a sad thing that he just literally aged to death. So you have that, while at the same time, you have the whole, okay, we have our former little kid who's now our Lord and Master, Lion-O, and he has to basically take on the mantle of leader and become basically the person that he has to be. And then when you see the trailer for Roar, all of a sudden we're just going to take everything the original and even the reboot in 2011 had, flush that right down the toilet, but yet say we're not, and just have it go. And I was like arguing this with myself the whole day, because the majority of the people's complaints is the animation style. You'll get no argument from me that the animation style on this is god-awful. I'm sick to death of seeing the Teen Titans Go-esque feel when it comes to cartoons. And this has a magical world of Gumball, which I could take or leave. I wasn't that big a fan of Gumball to begin with. And all that show was, in my opinion, was literally just a whole bunch of stock footage that I think Cartoon Network had the license to, that they had to use up. Because none of it ever fit the right thing. You had, like, Gumball, his sister, and Darwin were like an actual hand-drawn animation. Then you had the T-Rex that looked more realistic. You had the robot that looked more realistic. The simian teacher that looked more realistic. The cars, the environment, the background, some of the other characters looked more realistic, like the puppet-looking ones. It was a show that didn't know what it wanted to be, and yet it tried its best to be an animation comedy, and it wasn't like that. I mean, there was animation in it, that's a no-brainer, but it was animation in the wrong sense. It was like puppet animation, cell animation, live-action animation-ish sort of deal. So when you take something that's similar to that, or Adventure Time, or Clarence, and something like that, and you're basically still using that same style, eventually the people are going to get sick and tired of seeing it. Because it's like having something going on and on and on forever. I mean, eventually someone's going to get sick and tired of seeing it. And the perfect example I could come up with, and this is going to show my age, but you can actually blame the Fairly Odd Parents for this. So thank you, Butch Hartman, again for that, because there was a line in the Fairly Odd Parents. There was a special when Timmy got his little fairy brother or sister, Poof, that Cosmo, since apparently the fairy guys have to carry the kids, and the last baby fairy that was born was Cosmo. Let's throw some questions in there. Cosmo goes, put on some music, but no Bee Gees. Too many Bee Gees. And then they were explaining about the Bee Gees, that everybody loved the Bee Gees, and then suddenly there was massive backlash. Too much Bee Gees, they said. No more Bee Gees. And that's similar to, that's the only good similarity that I can put together for this. Because eventually you're going to get sick and tired of the art style. You're not going to want to see the art style anymore. And it's just going to get to the point of, okay, is this all you have anymore? Cartoon Network wants to be a one-trick pony. That's fine, but eventually the one-trick pony is going to run out of steam and nobody's going to want to see it anymore. Because it's basically, another good analogy I could use, I guess, would be like going to see a movie 175 times to the point where you pretty much know it word for word. I mean, I saw Small Soldiers so many times, my mom got sick and tired of it. And we went to the theater the one time, like, oh, cool, we're going to the movies again. She goes, yeah, but we're going to see something that I'd like to see. We've seen Small Soldiers enough. And even at that point, I had to agree with her, because I pretty much knew the movie inside and out by that point. So it was pretty much a, yeah, I've kind of seen it enough too. So there was that. But anyway, the backlash for the Thundercats, it wasn't to be unexpected. I mean, there's backlash when everything gets rebooted. Look at the reboot, the Guardian Code show. That got so much backlash when that came out. From the trailer alone for it, it had over 10,000 dislikes. So much so that a couple channels that do nothing but reboot-related stuff, and I'm talking reboot the show, not reboot the thing, actually put out a reaction video to how badly the trailer was being received. Yet they went along with the show anyway. And, well, to speak for itself, the show did suck. I mean, they even admitted it right off the bat that the show sucked. Even one of the few reviewers that actually reviewed, I think it was like up to episode 10, came right out and said it sucked. So, while I respect Ian and Pat's theories on this, as far as Ian's is concerned, that people need to stop trying to protect the past only for them, I gotta disagree with that one, because we're not trying to protect the past. We're trying to keep it so that it's not going to be destroyed. The past is something that you need to have to learn from. Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. And that's a true statement. It's actually an old saying, but it's true. So if we don't have the past to look back to as like, okay, look, this is what you're basing it off of, now you choose. I mean, it's up to everybody whether or not they want to watch it or not. Cartoon Network's not going to go up to your house and like hold a gun to your head and say, watch this show, we want the viewings, we want the ratings. They can't do that. They're not the Gestapo. They're not going to just do that. It's going to be, they're going to see whether or not it'll be good or bad based on what the fans have to say. At this point, though, I would pretty much say the Backlash should be telling them, hey, we should probably take this back to formula. The fans don't like the animation style. Now, if they would have came out with that as sort of like an April Fool's Day joke, like if that would have came out on April 1st and said, yeah, this show's coming out in 2019, and they would have had that, and then, like, in May, like in this month, and all of a sudden come out with a new trailer for it and go, psych, this is the actual trailer, I could understand the fans getting a little pissed off, but then going, okay, so that was an April Fool's joke, and this is the actual thing. But this is the art style that I think they're going with, and that's what disturbs and is upsetting a lot of people, and I can understand why for that. But, yeah, so it's up to you whether or not you want to like it or not. I'm not a big fan of it. I know a few other people aren't that big of fans of it. As far as I'm concerned, it's like Teen Titans Go. It's the poison that Cartoon Network is currently infected with, because they think that every single show has to be stupid, that it has to be 100% idiotic in order to get ratings and sell merchandise, and that's not how this works anymore. But then again, you never know how stuff works with Cartoon Network until it's all said and done. I mean, look at Ben 10. That was a good show, and fans hate Omniverse. I like Omniverse. I liked it a lot. That was one of my favorites. But, yeah, you never know. Might be good, might not be. Who knows? Okay, so over in the land of the rising sun, there's a wonderful thing in a place called Bandai Namco, who are some of the greatest people in the world. I say this begrudgingly, because this isn't an Andrew Rantz video, though I could fill like a good half an hour just on them alone. I could fill a good half an hour. Yeah, you freaking bastards. But anyway, Bandai Namco is going to be bringing one of Sword Art Online's most valuable and wonderful characters to the, I want to say, mobile devices in a VR experience like no other. And this is actually a good and a bad thing, and I want to explain why after I go through the article here quickly. So, they are bringing Asuna, the waifu of waifu, basically, into the virtual reality experience in a leisurely paced virtual reality experience. They announced this during the Dengeki online live stream broadcast on Monday that they're planning to release the Sword Art Lovely Honey Days for mobile devices this year. The game's going to have multiple episodes for purchase, but the initial episode is going to be free to play, so it's basically an overglorified freemium game. Players can take on the role of Kirito and enjoy day-to-day activities with Asuna, like enjoying a picnic, going swimming, sleeping in the same bed together. The game features a Matsuri mode, chill-out mode basically, where players can view Asuna from different angles. A chat mode lets players talk with Asuna in an SMS-style format, basically like text messaging. Official website's got open pre-registration for the game, and let's see, and 10 random registrants will receive a special smartphone VR goggle as a prize. So VR goggles for 10 lucky 10 lucky registers. If you register or pre-register, I guess, you will be given one random one if you're one of the lucky 10 they're going to choose at random. So, yeah, here's the thing. This is a good and a bad thing at the same time. Now, way back in the 80s, like even the late 70s, early 80s, there was a thing called video girls. And I want to explain this before I go any further into why this is a good thing and why this is a bad thing. So, back then there was this thing called video girls, and what they basically were a videotape, like a VHS or a beta. I think they were mostly all VHS though. And you pop in the VCR, and it's basically like you have a girlfriend in your home. It only lasts so long as the tape lasts. You can rewind it and watch the same thing over and over and over again, or after a while, probably just take it back to the store and get a different one. This was the entire premise of Video Girl I, the series that was made by the same director that came out with, the same creator that came out with Eyes and years later, and Eyes was, I adore Eyes with a passion. It's one of my favorite manga series and anime series to begin with. But anyway, what this basically feels like, this whole virtual reality Asuna thing, this could open up the door for so many other anime titles. So she's not the only character that people have a thing for. Let's just go that route. While, yes, this could also open up the door for the sick and disturbed individuals, you limit it to which characters you're going to put out. So, like, let's say all of a sudden you want to put out somebody from a series that, may not work. Or this and that, what have you. I don't want to name characters because I don't want to screw something up or misjudge a character here. But anyway, you have those characters, and that's something you could get with and understand. And like I said, that's the good thing, because you could basically put yourself into the game, or literally into the show, and instead of it being an actual episode of the series, it could just be its own standalone episode, like an OVA or something, where you're one of the characters that gets to go out on a date with character A or B. And you could do this for both the male and the female characters. I mean, heck, you could even do this for like some of the Beast characters if you're into, that. I don't know. But there's like an entire amalgam that you could do here. The possibilities are endless. They have something similar to this now. It's like Virtual Girlfriend, and while it does kind of lack some basic necessities like communication, it does work for what it's supposed to be. Now, that's the good, and the bad that I mostly have with this is, besides the fact it's a little creepy, you run the risk of, and I want to say this so politely if I can, you run the risk of creating a pedophilic sort of air, because a lot of people misconstrued anime as pornography. I'm not joking on that either. I did an entire rant video on that too, and they basically consider it that. Why, I don't know. I still have yet to ever figure that out from people, but they do have a tendency to consider that. Then when you have it that people are into like the little kids or the lollies and all that, there's where the gray area starts to fall in. And if you have something like this, the age is going to play a major role in this. Regardless of what the story is, you run the risk of having that. So, like I said, that's sort of the, strange thing. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if it's just going on a picnic, going swimming, walking in a park or something, because it is basically like older brother and little sister, or older sister and younger brother sort of deal. Younger sibling and older sibling. But when you get into the sleeping in the same bed, which if you're basing one game, they could literally just take the coding from game A, overlay a different skin on Avatar A, and boom, you got a different game. You run the risk of screwing the pooch a little too much on this one, because then that kind of opens up the floodgates. So you just have that as a sort of weird thing. Now, the ability to talk in that's actually pretty cool, but yeah, it does kind of make things a little more disturbing than it should. But that's my thoughts. But while it is a good idea, and I won't deny that, it is actually a wonderful idea for an app, it's not exactly an app that I would feel comfortable downloading, let's say, for the hell of it, because you run the risk of, okay, so I get to be Kirito, but you don't know you're Kirito. Unless there's a mirror and you see Kirito reflected, you don't know you're Kirito. So you're thinking, I'm me in this game, and I'm hanging out with Asuna. So that's where my weird and creepy meter starts to activate, starts to go up a few paces. But it's still not a bad idea, and it's not a bad concept. So I do kind of like that. And it could open up, like I said, the gate to many other games like this. Especially with so many lonely people out there, this is something that they could use to get some confidence up to talk to actual girls. Believe me, it does help, just not very much, but it does help. But yeah, so it's a good thing, but I would rather see all the bugs worked out of it first before you actually start saying, yeah, we're going to release it to the public. Because I got like way too many issues with that to have it even start getting released anywhere near now. So yeah, that's where I stand on that. But it's still a good idea, and I do applaud it. Alrighty. Do you like Lelouch from Code Geass? Are you into collecting standees of your favorite characters from movies and television? Well, if you are, then Lelouch from Lelouch of the Rebellion, aka Code Geass, is going to be a great addition to anything you have. So, basically, Bandai announced that they are making a life-size 181 centimeters, to be exact, standee of Lelouch for the Code Geass fan who has everything. I would rather have a nightmare frame, to be honest with you, but yeah, sure, we'll go with a standee. The standee, which is up for pre-order now, is going for about $70 American, or 7,560 yen. Whew, that's a lot of money. And it's going to ship in September. It's drawn by Takahiro Kimura, who did the designs for the series. It's a good series. If you've ever seen Code Geass, it is a good series. I love it. It's one of my favorite mech series. So, as Geass fans know, the original series is currently being retold in a series of compilation films being released in Japan, and a new project, Fukusatsu Resurrection, has been announced. So imagine watching the new Geass anime with Lelouch right there in the room with you. Yeah. While standees aren't exactly a thing that everyone in the world doesn't want to have, believe me, I had a great story for this I can even tell here. It's something that you have to wonder, what the hell am I going to do with it? I mean, this is literally for the die-hard fan. I mean, I know somebody that's got because I remember they brought it out so many times, every single time someone just mentioned the guy's name, a Randolph Mantooth cardboard standee, because it makes my one Aunt Glee like a high school girl on prom night. I'm not joking. That's honestly the best way I can describe it. I didn't even go to my prom. I just know that from television. I don't mean to make that sound insensitive, but honestly, that's how she squeals whenever she sees that. And what's interesting with cardboard standees is that while they're an interesting thing, it's just one of those that you have to be a real diehard fan to want to own one. It's a very niche market that I can tell. While yes, there are people that will buy them, I don't see the point in buying a cardboard standee you can't talk to, whereas you could just talk to an imaginary friend. Now, yes, if it's like a collector's item or it's signed, I could see that. But this is honestly like a niche market for this type of thing. At least that's the way I feel. And they're going for this humongous sort of draw with this just because Geass is becoming popular. Now, in all honesty, I don't own any cardboard standees. And I only ever came close to buying one. And I do mean close. When my one FYE around here was closing up, I still miss that store. But then again, the mall's done now, too, that it was in. So, yeah, it's a love loss that would have came eventually. They were selling off a lot of their stuff, and they had a huge markdown. And they had a Kaylee Cuoco cardboard standee. For those of you who don't know who she is, she's the actress who plays Penny on The Big Bang Theory. I had a huge thing for her. Not as huge as Melissa Joan Hart. If it would have been a Melissa Joan Hart standee, I would have picked that up in a heartbeat. I honestly would have. My mom probably would have been freaking out when I would have went to pick her up from work, and all of a sudden would have been like, yeah, I got the standee today. She probably would have screamed at me and then realized, yeah, he wouldn't have let that go. But anyway, I wasn't going to pay the money for it at first. It was like $35. And then it kept going all down and down and down. Finally, when they got to the point where it was, everything in the store was like up to 75% off because they were like literally closing up like the end of the month. They still had it yet, and the one guy knew that I was looking at it. It's like, hey, look, it's still here. Hey, look, it's still here and that. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have any money for it. Because I did not have a job back then, and $35 even to me was a lot of money, and even with the 75% off, he even told me what it would have came out to. I honestly didn't even have that. I had like maybe $3. I was just in there to kill time, to be honest with you, because I had to disappear for a while because my grandfather was sweeping up the floor and that, and I didn't want to breathe in too much of the dust. I really didn't want to stay at home, but I had no money to go anywhere. I'm like, I'll just go do some window shopping, just walk around. I had like maybe $2 on me that I used to get something to drink. That was it. And it's like, I didn't buy it. I'm not really kicking myself for it because I could easily find it on eBay. But I'm just not the type of person that's geared towards. And that's my whole point with this, is that this is, like I said, it's a niche market. So having something like this is, while cool, I will not deny, like I said, I would rather have a nightmare frame. Like an actual, I could jump in the pilot seat and drive that thing to work nightmare frame. So, while it's cool, when I think Code Geass, I'm thinking, something else could be cooler. But, you never know. Alright, do you dream of being an animator? Do you dream of doing digital animation? Do you love Neon Genesis Evangelion? Well, if you do, you might want to put in an application to Studio Kahara because they're hiring some digital animators for the 4th Evangelion film. That means they're finally getting forward on that then now, huh? No, it's been like an eternity and a half. Anyway, getting into this, Studio Kahara, they're finally getting around to hiring those wonderful digital animators for the 4th Evangelion film. The studio was founded by Hideki Anno, that has animated all of the Evangelion films since Evangelion 1.0. For those of you that don't know, it was like a retelling of the entire story. You have like a 1.0, 2.0, I know it was like 1.11, there's like 2.0, then there was 3.0, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. It's putting out the call, though, for animators for a new Evangelion film. That refers, no doubt, to the long-awaited Evangelion 4.0, or 3.0 plus 1.0, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Who knows what it's going to end up being called. Eventually, they're just going to call it, hey, it's the next Evangelion film you've all been asking, begging, and pleading for. You can put away your Ouija boards, we've heard you. Yay! Successful applicants will work out of the Kahara studio in Nishi Ogabuku, Tokyo, a very cool neighborhood, incidentally, and work on consignment, or work on either a consignment or contract basis, depending on availability. Salaries will be starting at, and this is where I start to laugh. The salaries will be starting at 210,000 yen, about 2,000 American, per month. Not per day or per year, per month. $2,000 per month. Okay. So this is very exciting news for fans looking forward to any movement from the Eva movie. They reported about, this came from Otaku USA, by the way. They reported, and sorry about that, I got hit by a stink bug there. They reported on this about a year ago that Kahara was hiring in-between animators, animation runners, and staff members for the films, meaning, incidentally, they are done with the hand-drawn stuff and are on to the digital part of the process. At least, that's what they thought. They won't know for sure until any official announcement is made, but it definitely sounds like some kind of progress is being made on this thing finally. I saw 1.11, it wasn't that great. I saw 1.2, again, not that great, and in all honesty, I don't even think I saw 3.0 or whatever the latest one that plopped out was. I just gave up at that point. While it was sort of an entertaining prospect, it was a meh, I don't really care anymore kind of deal. But anyway, for those of you out there that are wondering to do that, check out Studio Okahara's site for some more details. You could possibly get your name in the credits of the next Evangelion movie, if it ever comes out. Alright, Hello Kitty. We all know this wonderful, adorable little cat girl thing. I don't know what it is. I've never been able to figure it out. But anyway, it's going to become a new bullet train that Japanese travelers are going to be able to move at the speed of kawaii. Yeah, I just had to do it that way. Starting June 30th, though, that's when that's going to happen. That's when the country's Hello Kitty Shinkansen, or bullet train, is set to debut. Details about the train, including its look and a sneak peek movie, were revealed this week. The train, which is operated by JR West, will make trips between Osaka and Fukuoka once a day. In addition to the exterior, the inside of the train will also be kittified. That includes the train's so-called kawaii room, where you can take pictures with Kitty herself. This isn't the first time pop culture has been incorporated into Japan's ultra high-speed trains. From 2015 to 2018, the same Osaka Fukuoka route hosted the Evangelion theme train. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I understand the gimmick for this. It's something that's cute. You want to have the kids that want to go there. They want to ride it. I get it. Seriously, though, Hello Kitty? Hello Kitty? You could have done Doraemon or Hamtaro or anything else but Hello Kitty. It had to be Hello Kitty? Really? Hello Kitty would have been like the last thing I would have picked for a train. But, alright, to each their own, I guess. I mean, it's really not much. So if you're over in Japan and you want to go from Osaka to... I'm going to mispronounce this again, I know it. If you want to go from Osaka to Fukuoka, check out the Hello Kitty bullet train, where you'll be able to move at, say it with me now, the speed of kawaii! I feel horrible just doing that. Okay, so I've always been a fan of Mechagodzilla. Fact to be, I've been a fan of Mechagodzilla since I first saw him in, I really want to say Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. It was a really good movie, I liked it. Then I found out that there was a sequel, Tokyo SOS, and I still love it. However, the latest Mechagodzilla, it kind of, what's a good word for makes me sick to my stomach? Yeah. So from the new Godzilla film, stomps Mechagodzilla. The City on the Edge of Battle hit theaters in Japan over the weekend, or the past weekend, and it featured a brand new take on Mechagodzilla, one of the Big G's most iconic foes. So starting in July, fans can get their hands on this soft vinyl version of the new Mechagodzilla for a reasonable 5,000 yen, or $45 American. Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle director Hiroki Shishita commented on the figure, saying, "It goes beyond the normal soft vinyl figure with its surprising level of detail. And hey, if you can't trust Hiroki Shishita, who can you trust? I would go with the fans, toy collector, somebody that actually can see that this thing scares the crap out of kids. The figure goes up for pre-order over at the Premium Bandai on July 23rd, and it's going to ship in November. So I'm disturbed by it. It's creepy. It's weird looking. If I don't have the picture up, and believe me, I will try my best to remember to put the picture up of this, because it is creepy. I mean, it's full-on creepy. I like Mechagodzilla for the fact that it's supposed to look mechanical. It's supposed to look like a literal robot version of Godzilla, which is its entire thing, but it kind of doesn't, it looks ugly. That's the best way I can describe it. It looks ugly. Ugly. Pure ugly. There, I said it. It looks ugly. I said it. There, I said it. I can make peace with myself. I said it. It looks ugly. There, I said it. Whew! It looks ugly. It just looks ugly looking. But judge for yourself. If you're interested, pre-orders will be up starting July 23rd. Check out sites for it. I guarantee you scalpers will have those things bought up in a matter of minutes. And more power to them, because I ain't buying one. Alrighty, so fans of Dragonball Fighters, you're going to be getting a new character soon. Yes, it's time to put your hands together and give a warm round of applause for Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito. That's right, the latest DLC characters are on their way to the Dragonball Fighters game with both Fused Zamasu and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito scheduled to launch on May 31st. They'll be available as standalone purchases or as part of the Fighters Pass. You can see Vegito's introduction trailer. It's up online. Who cares, really? It's a good game, I do admit that, but it's an inevitable thing. I mean, you're going to have characters from every single franchise that are going to eventually come into this. So any game that's based on a franchise, you're going to have the other characters that are going to come in eventually. They're not all going to be made available right off the bat, because they don't want to put the time and effort into creating half a dozen of them, and then all of a sudden go, yeah, the game sucks, we're not going to make any more, the game's being pulled, you wasted all your time. This way it keeps the thing fresh, but making it that you got to pay for it, it kind of sucks for people that don't have the money or don't want to do that. That does kind of suck for them. But anyway, it's cool that you get to have Fused Zamasu and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito for that. The gameplay on it is fun, I will admit that. I haven't played it, I don't have a system for it, but I've watched it on YouTube. It is cool looking. Definitely fits the style of a Dragon Ball Z game, and it's beautifully made, I will admit that. Very, very beautifully made. So, Vegito entering that fray, I say hands down, wonderful job. It's wonderful as far as I'm concerned. That's great. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I talked about Dragon Ball World Tour 2018. I don't remember exactly when, but I know it was earlier this month. Some more details have finally been revealed for the North American tour of 2018, which starts its Kamehameha blasting run on July 19th at San Diego Comic-Con. The tour will stop at 7 cities across the United States and Canada, with an exclusive preview planned for July 18th in San Diego. Now, we know what to expect from the tour, including cities, dates, and some more exciting exclusive goodies. So after its San Diego Comic-Con debut, the tour is going to move onto the Otakon, it's Otakon, Otakon, Fan Expo in Canada, Rose City Comic-Con in New York, Rose City Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and Dallas Fan Days, with the 7th location to be announced at a later date. So, the schedule is as follows. So, here's the schedule for you, for those of you that are looking forward to this. So, get a piece of paper and a pencil ready. I will wait. Okay, you don't want to get sued. Alright, you should have a piece of paper, or at least open up a typing program by now. So, the first stop is Comic-Con International from July 19th to the 22nd at the San Diego Convention Center. The preview night will be on July 18th. After that, it's on its way to Otakon, August 10th to 12th at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. Followed by that fun little romp, it will be going to the Fan Expo Canada from August 30th to September 2nd at Metro Toronto Convention Center. The Rose City Comic Con is next, September 7th to the 9th at Oregon Convention Center. New York Comic Con is set for almost a good month later, from October 4th to the 7th at the Javits Center, Javits Center in New York. And Dallas Fan Days will be from October 19th to the 21st at the Irving Convention Center. The 7th location is yet to be announced. Like the 7th Dragon Ball, you must acquire the other 6 to know where to go for the 7th. Okay, those are the Super Dragon Balls, but you get the point here. At the heart of the Dragon Ball Tour is a life-size replica of the World Martial Arts Tournament. Attendees will be able to relive their favorite episodes, learn more about the various Dragon Ball characters, and check out the latest collectibles from Tamashii Nations and SH Figure Arts. In addition to the previously revealed figure arts for Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito, and Broly figures, there will also be event-exclusive color editions of the SH Figure Arts Perfect Cell and an Energy Aura Blast. Ooh. If you've been looking for a way to get your hands on the latest Dragon Ball games in one place, you'll get a chance to try out a bunch in person during the event. Attendees can look forward to playing Dragon Ball Super card game, Dragonball Fighters, the Dragon Ball Legends smartphone app, and more. Dragon Ball Legends smartphone app? I'll have to look that one up. Probably won't be able to play that on my tablet, but let's look that up now. And don't forget that the Dragon Ball Super movie is on the way. Fans at the San Diego Comic-Con are going to be able to check out the exclusive theatrical trailer with additional trailers to be previewed throughout the tour. So in other words, that thing will be uploaded to YouTube pretty much on July 18th, because you know some fans are going to record that on their phone and upload that. Come on. I know how the world works now. Let's see here. Be sure to stick around for promotional giveaways. Items at all the tour stops as well as available while supplies last. Exclusive goods include a Comic-Con swag bag, lanyard and keychain, and a Dragon Ball Super card game demo deck, Series 3 set, and promotional card. Wow. Those will go up on eBay in a matter of days. After that happens, the Dragon Ball North American Tour 2018 is a collaboration between Bandai Namco Group, Shueisha Incorporated, and Toei Animation Incorporated, resulting in an unprecedented treat for fans of Akira Toriyama's long-running Dragon Ball franchise. Truly immersive Dragon Ball content is on its way to a city near you, so mark your calendars and head to the event's official website for more. Yeah, it sounds cool. I won't deny that. It does sound neat. I don't have the cash to go. I wish I could, but I'm not going to go. But that does sound neat. I will admit that. That is cool. I mean, it's freaking groovy. It's neat. I like it. It sounds cool. So, if they ever announce the 7th date, you know I will bring that to you. Otherwise, yeah, there you go. Those were the dates and some extra information. So, yeah. For those of you that are going, have fun and take plenty of pictures because I want to see what it looks like. Alrighty, welcome to the final topic of the night, because it's the last one on my list, and I'm really starting to sweat worse than Miss Piggy at a Hawaiian luau. It's really getting hot in here. I was working on that all night, too. After tens of thousands of pre-orders, the 3D audio headphone startup Ossic has disappeared off the face of the earth. And a representative from Indiegogo has recently posted an update saying that the figures on their site include included the funds raised by Kickstarter, putting the total crowdfunding of Ossic X at $3.2 million, not $5.9 million. So, just so you know, in case I say that during the thing here. So, after taking tens of thousands of crowdfunding pre-orders for a high-end pair of 3D sound headphones, audio startup Ossic announced this weekend it is shutting down the company and backers ain't getting squat. You're not getting your 3D headphone and you ain't getting a refund. So that's really great. The company raised $3.2 million across Kickstarter and Indiegogo for their Ossic X headphones, which they pitched as a pair of high-end head-tracking headphones that will be perfect for listening to 3D audio, especially in a VR environment. While the company also raised a substantial seed investment, in a letter on the Ossic website, the company blamed the slow adoption of virtual reality alongside their crowdfunding campaign stretch goals that bogged down their R&D team. Bullshit. This was obviously not our desired outcome, they were quoted as saying. The team worked exceptionally hard, and created a production-ready product that is a technological and performance breakthrough. To fail at the 5-yard line is a tragedy. We are extremely sorry that we cannot deliver your product and want you to know that the team has done everything possible, including investing in our own savings and working without salary to exhaust all possibilities. I call bullshit! I can smell it a mile away. At the time, as I got this online, they reached out, the people that were writing the article, I should say, reached out to them and they were told additional details, I guess. Throughout January 2017, the San Diego company had received more than 22,000 pre-orders for the headphones. This past January, they announced that they had shipped out the first units to the 80 backers in their $999 developer tier. In the same update, the company said they would enter mass production in late spring of this year. In the end, after tens of thousands of pre-orders, they built 250 pairs of headphones and only shipped a few dozen to Kickstarter backers. So, you lucky Kickstarter backers are the only ones that got a pair of headphones, and knowing the way that this story seems to go, they probably burned up within a matter of 3 days. Crowdfunding campaign failures for hardware products are rarely shocking anymore. I mean, like I said earlier, Daniel Iberson and Guru Larry do a couple of these every now and then, and I hope that this one gets on there. They could do an entire episode of Kick Scammers on this alone. So it's not really a shock anymore. But often the collapse comes from the company not being able to acquire additional funding from outside investors, or the fact that they were greedy bastards that just decided that they had something that they could never deliver, took the money and ran. Which does happen. Here Ossic appears to have been misguided from the start, and even with $3.2 million in crowdfunding and seed funding, which they said nearly matched that number, they were left unable to begin large-scale manufacturing. The company said in their letter that they would likely take more than $2 million in additional funding to deliver the existing backlog of pre-orders. Shall we sing the bullshit song, boys and girls? Because that's what I'm smelling here is bullshit. Lots and lots of bullshit. I am swimming right now in a sea of BS. Because that's what I'm sniffing here. Backers are understandably quite upset about not receiving their headphones. Well, no shit. I'd be a little pissed too. I gave you people crowdfunding money and I don't get anything in return. Yeah, I'd be a little pissed. I'd be looking for the pitchforks and looking for the mob to join them as we walk to find you. I mean, damn. A group of more than 1,200 Facebook users have joined a recently created page threatening a class action lawsuit against the team. Ouch! That's gonna hurt so bad. Yeah, because in all honesty, they're claiming that they could not meet the demand because they couldn't produce these things. Like I said, I'm smelling bullshit a mile away. I am smelling so much BS that isn't funny. Your claim is we couldn't find a way to get all of the stuff produced. We couldn't begin mass production. We ran out of money. What are you making these things out of? Gold? You raised $3.2 million. There is no way in hell this would have taken you 5.9 if you needed an additional 2 million on top of what you already raised. Then you're claiming that you took no salaries, that you basically threw money in out of your own pockets, and that's the standard BS logo for anybody that screws over groups of people with Kickstarter and Indiegogo failures. Well, we were working without salaries for the longest time because we believed that this product would work and we didn't want to burden our backers with any more financial woes. That's when you put out updates. Possible problem, but we're going to look into finding a solution. Not all of a sudden go, yeah, well, you ain't getting anything. No refunds, no headphones. Thank you for playing. This is basically your game of Wheel of Screwed. And today's contestant are all the people that backed your sorry asses and the dumb schmucks that actually thought this was a good idea. The few people that won a prize were the people that you actually sent the stupid things out to from the Kickstarter backers. Hey, that's great. You lucky individuals managed to get a headphone, so you actually paid for something. Whether or not it was good, I don't know. So apparently it was 80 backers in their $999 developer tier for headphones. Wow. 80 backers. So 80 people apparently got headphones out of how many? 22,000 pre-orders plus? Yeah, I would say that's a pretty big screw you. And now they're going to claim that, well, we did have some product made. It did go out because we did, provide to the 80-some backers. I can instantly go, any judge in their right mind is going to look at that and go, what about the other people? If you were able to make theirs, you'd be able to make everybody else's. It's just a matter of, you just have to put down, okay, it's not going to come out at this point, and try to find some cheaper labor to get the stuff done quickly, or look for a cheaper way to manufacture them with still having the same quality performance. This was, in my opinion, from what I can see here, a standard case of, we're going to say we have a great idea. We're going to fill your heads with some wonderful woe, and then say, screw you, as we take your money and run towards the border. I smell Mike Kennedy and Calico Chameleon all over again. Yes. For those of you that don't know that, check out the podcast, the CU podcast, for more on good old Mike Kennedy. Believe me, you can learn a lot about him from Pat and Ian. But anyway, this has kick scammers written all over it. So, Guru Larry, Daniel Ibersom, I don't know if you guys listen to my podcast, but if you do, here you guys go. It's all yours. I want to see what you guys have to say on that. Alrighty, everybody, that's going to do it this week for the Absolutely Completely Random podcast. I am sweating way worse than Porky the Pig and Miss Picky at a Hawaiian barbecue. Whew, it's hot in here. Let's see, it was 91 when I started the podcast. It is now a cool 90. Went down 1 degree, and I've been doing this podcast for just about an hour. Yeah, and it went down a wonderful degree. It's going to be a long night, folks. I get to sleep in this yet. But anyway, as always, if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about here in the podcast, feel free to drop me a line. Either on my email, which for this podcast is acrpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to drop it into the discussion section of my YouTube channel. Have to be, even if you want to, swing by there and we can have a discussion about Thundercats Roar, crappy cartoons, anime, what have you. Just stop by and say hi if you want. I do have a discussion page on my YouTube channel. Swing by and say hi if you want. You can also check me out on Twitter at OtakuRhodes. That's at OtakuRhoads on Twitter. And don't forget, you can also check me out on Facebook at the official Web Designer 18 Facebook page. I do go on that every now and then. I do try to keep that updated as best I can. I really, really do. It's just one of those, I try my best to do that at least once or twice a week. Besides when I do the podcast, I upload whenever videos are up. I just don't really type in like status updates and things like that. But feel free to check out that page if you want to. And until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes. This has been the Absolutely Completely Random Podcast. And before I go, I actually forgot about something. I'd like to give a nice little shout out, if I can, to one of my favorite fans, Capone Alderan, aka Cap, who said I could call you Cap, because that way I don't screw up your name here on YouTube. So Cap sent me something really funny over the week, and I really did enjoy it. And I wanted to give a good shout out. I wanted to thank you for that, because it was so funny. I'm still laughing about it. Thank you so much for that. I really needed that when I got it. When I looked at it and I watched it, I really needed that. So thank you so much. So until next week, I'm Andrew Rhodes. This is the podcast, and I'm signing off. Bye, everybody.